Bangarang bass. Bangarang. Shouts to all my lost boys, we rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys, we rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys. Bangarang bass.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Checkerboard here. Thanks for tuning in and welcome to my World of Warcraft Marksman Hunter PvP guide for the pre-patch to the upcoming expansion Legion. Now today I will be discussing the changes to Marksman, the abilities. I'll briefly touch on stat priority, talents, and finally rotation that I personally believe work best for Marksman Hunters in PvP. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. Now, Blizzard has made some drastic changes to Hunters in this pre-patch. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail with all the specs because I am planning on doing a video that will go into each individual spec. But right now we're going to focus on Marksman. So basically, what they've done is they've done some pruning as well as removing some abilities. Instead of removing a whole bunch, they just kind of spread them around. Renamed, redesigned a few things like that, making them more class specific instead. So like for example, they gave us back a disorient ability. It's called bursting shot. That one that you just saw right there. Oddly enough, you don't need a target for it to work. It's basically, it's a little explosion, sort of like a backfire almost, but in a front, like a small frontal cone. It slightly knocks back and disorients targets in front of you. So, kind of similar to scatter shot, but you don't need to have anything to do that. So, I mean, if you wanted to set up a, like a cast sequence macro or something where, you could run that and tie it to, like your binding shot or your wyvern sting or something like that, that's, it's something to think about. We still have our concussive shot, arcane shot, we still have multi-shot, but those no longer spend focus, instead they regen it. Arcane shot gives you about 5 focus every time it hits, multi-shot gives you 2 per target it hits. They did allow us to keep disengaged, so we still got that. Still got feigned death. Still got our you can still spec your pet how you want to, but they don't give a buff anymore. They took away pet buffs too. So basically, what it is, they removed the need for a PvP trinket. Now they have an actual honor talent that's available at 100. It's honorable mention. It activates whenever you go into PvP combat. So if you've got that on your action bar somewhere and somebody smacks you, you're gonna know it. But in any case, the changes that they've made here is, they're not too bad, but like I said, they made it more class specific. So if you look at your actual specializations, you're gonna see the 6 primary abilities for each individual spec. Just showing you how what separates each one. Beast Mastery obviously is going to focus primarily on your on your pet. Marksmanship is solely your weapon, and survival is primarily melee attacks, traps, and bleeds. Which like I said, I'll go into those in a in my survival and Beast Mastery guides. Those will be coming out soon. I wanted to nail the marksmanship one out of the way though, but to get that first. But in any case, as far as the stat priority, from what little information I could gather this early in, basically the same as they were in Warlords of Draenor. General consensus, agility goes without saying, but then crit, which is equal to or slightly higher in stat priority than mastery. Then you got your versatility and haste. Haste I wouldn't really too much worry about. I don't, obviously if you look at my setup here, I don't really too much focus on haste. I am still geared, as you can see, by with versatility, because I was playing survival, so primarily my gears revolved around that. At least till I update it. But in any case, but yeah. So from what I'm gathering from all the information that I'm seeing, it's crit and mastery are kind of up on the same area of the totem pole. Um, Crit, obviously, for its obvious reasons, but mastery, because that's gonna, it's gonna amplify the not only the damage that your focus spenders actually do, but it increases the range that you can actually hit a target. So the more mastery you have, the further away you can hit something, which is kind of nice, especially for marksmen, because now having traps, you're definitely going to want to kite a lot more. So if you notice my range on this thing, I mean, if you look how far away I am from this dummy here, I mean, I'm quite a ways away and I can still hit it pretty good. So the that's a nice bonus to it. But basically, what it boils down to is crit and mastery. You want to have that, but you also want to make sure that you've got your your versatility too, just to reduce the amount of damage that you're going to take overall. And I'll tell you right now, not having as much as much utility as we used to with having traps and whatnot, it's definitely going to make us a higher priority target. Um, so in any case, next, what I'll do is I'll go into talents here. Basically, what we're looking at, like I said, with any other spec, be it Beast Mastery, Marksman, or Survival, you got your primary abilities listed. It'll help you kind of narrow down exactly what spec you might want to play, along with a detailed description of what each of those abilities do. So, with that being said, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time explaining the different abilities, but I will go over some of the new ones. Changes to the remaining, and if any, and why I chose what I did. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a rank one multi-glad or anything like that. But I'm nowhere near new to the game either. I've seen it undergo many changes over the years. Um, like bringing back melee abilities to hunters, for example. But like I said, I'll go into detail on that in that my survival guide. So, basically, what we're looking at here with Marksman, you want to look at the talents, and make the choices according to your play style. Which I do kind of like the fact that they made that change. They did make it a lot more customizable. It's not quite as cookie cutter as it used to be. So you're not forced into a specific spec. But there are some situational things where it just makes sense to go with a specific ability, and anything else is probably going to jeopardize your chances at winning, at least under a PvP circumstance. Now, if you look at my level 15 talent, instead of going with Lone Wolf or Careful Aim, I went with Steady Focus. Steady Focus is going to give you a nice little buff after you fire a few of your arcane shots. So, if you read the tooltip here, if using arcane shot or multi-shot 3 times in a row, you get 25% focus regen, which is pretty good. I mean, your normal regen is, it's not terrible, but it's not great either. But that 25% increase to it is definitely nice. Lone Wolf kind of seems a little PvE-ish to me, but if it does, it takes away the ability to actually call a pet. But it does increase your overall damage by 18%. So that's not, that in some situations I can see where that would be useful. Careful aim shot, mark shot, arcane shot, they all your primary shots have a 20% chance to increase the critical strike chance against targets over 80%. So basically, if they're over 80% health, yeah, you're going to get a really nice opening burst, but not really, you know, you're not trying to, you're not trying to top numbers. You're trying to kill people, So this is a PvP guide after all. Excuse me. So next we got the level 30 tier is the lock and load, black arrow, or true aim. This is, it kind of narrows down to one thing for me. Lock and load is, it's not terrible. It does have an 8% chance for your auto attacks to trigger lock and load. It makes your next 2 aim shots cost no focus and be instant. So yeah, that's not bad. But it's only an 8% proc, and I think they could probably bump it up to, 10, 15, even 20%. Wouldn't be too terrible. Your auto shots are only firing once every 3 seconds, so you're talking once every 20, 30 seconds you're going to be able to fire off a couple of free aim shots. Not really worth it in my book. Black arrow's dispellable. Not really, I wouldn't. It seems like a wasted global cooldown for me. It's a decent amount of damage, but not really. If it gets dispelled, it's totally wasted. So. True aim though, each time you get an arcane or aim shot fired at the same target, it increases the damage those shots deal. So essentially, the more you keep hitting a target, you're going to increase the damage you dish out to them by up to 16%. So, and it's not just the, it's not just one shot or the other. It's both of them. Either shot is going to give that debuff. So. If you see right here, they're taking 16% more damage from arcane shot, marked, and aim shot. So every time you get those procs out, you're going to do a lot more damage, and that buff refreshes and it can't be dispelled. So that's nice too. The other thing that the next talent tier that I went to here, I went to post haste, which is kind of a no-brainer for me. It frees you of any movement impairing effects. So roots, snares, slows of any kind. They're gone. Now, it doesn't mean they can't be reapplied, but, if you're in a position where you can pillar hump easily, that's definitely going to be your out, just like it was before. No change to that. Forest Rider, every time you crit, you get a 10% chance to reset the remaining cooldown on disengage, which, it's not bad. But, with that being said, if you're rooted, not really gonna help you there, because you can't disengage out of a root unless you have post haste. Dash, just no. I mean, a 3-minute cooldown for Aspect of the Cheetah. They changed that. Excuse me. It's no longer a buff that you get dazed. So you can speed away at whenever you want, but it's a 3-minute cooldown. You get a 90% boost for 3 seconds, and then the remaining 9 seconds of it, it's 30%. So I mean, it's nice for a quick getaway, but once every 3 minutes, they need to shorten the cooldown for that to be viable, in my opinion. Level 68, I went with Patient Sniper. Explosive Shot, not really very good. It basically just hurls a slow-moving projectile at the target, and then you just detonate it when you want, and it deals AoE damage. Not really a big fan of that. As far as Sentinel, that's not bad. Especially in like an AoE situation, like BG or something to that effect, because you can choose to go ahead and toss out an aim, or I'm sorry, a hunter's mark on any on all the targets around that area, so you can make them all vulnerable and increase the damage of your like your marked shot or whatever. So excuse me, it's not bad, but you get 2 charges of it, and it applies Hunter's Mark to all enemies near the target that you put it on. But Patient Sniper, basically, you get 30 more focus, which is nice. But it causes the vulnerable debuff to increase the marked shot and aim shot damage by 150%. But it only lasts for 6 seconds and it doesn't stack up. It's still 150%, it's no joke. So, Binding Shot, Wyvern Sting, or Camo, that is going to be purely situational. You're going to use Binding Shot if you've got, like, say, a mage or something like that, Warlock, where, they're not stunning quite as often, but, so you're not going to have to worry about putting, their CCs on DR, but if you're running with, like, a Rogue or a Punch Monk or something, then, yeah, no, Binding Shot's not going to be the way you want to go. You're going to want to go with something like this. Wyvern Sting is good. It's like a 1.5 second cast, but it does, no change to that. Puts them to sleep. It's not going to incapacitate a player for 30 seconds, obviously, but you know, camo. They changed that. You don't. It's not glyphed anymore. You basically go into stealth, and um, while you're camouflaged, it heals you for 2% every second. So that's kind of nice. Uh, Murder of Crows, no change there. Does it summons a flock of crows. Does a boatload of damage. Short 1 minute cooldown, so not bad there. Um, you tie it in with a macro for with your trinket, something like that, then you're gonna pump out a pretty nice amount of damage. Plus you get to use all your other abilities while your target's getting gnawed on by a flock of angry rabid pigeons. So, definitely my choice. Barrage, wouldn't really go with that under most circumstances. I mean, in an AOE situation, BG, something like that. If you want to just wreck the charts and just mollywomp people, then yeah, Barrage is nice. As well as Volley, not bad, because it's nice for AOE. Either one of these. This is more single target. Can't be dispelled, so the target's got to eat it. And if they die while it's on, then the cooldown's reset, so that's nice. So that's why I went with that. Finally, I went with Trick Shot for the 100 level 100 talent. Sidewinders, as cool as it sounds, it's really not that cool. I mean, it's basically just a couple of double snake heads that, basically slither in midair across the playing field to the target. And it applies vulnerable to any target it hits. Gives you 50 focus, but as you can see by the tooltip, it replaces arcane shot and multi-shot. So you're losing two abilities for exchange for one that is almost a 12-second cooldown and only gives you back 50 focus. That not really doesn't really do it for me. I mean, they either need to increase the focus it gives you back or reduce the recharge. I don't like that. Piercing shots is really nice, especially for even single target or AOE. It's you don't have to cast it; it's instant. As you can see, it's really sick. 163,000 damage, which it's going to scale by your attack power, obviously. So you can get that up to with your trinket, and a proc or anything else. You're probably looking at a probably close to 300,000 just normal hit. Let alone if it crits, you could probably one-shot somebody with piercing shot if you got your cooldowns rolling. But if you don't, then you don't. I personally decided to go with Trick Shot. Reason I went with Trick Shot is not only does it ricochet and hit anybody else that's marked vulnerable for like 30% of the damage that it normally does, but if there's no other target, your aim shot's going to do an additional 15%. So it's definitely nice. You're going to get that 16% buff from true aim, or 16%. So then you get another 15. So you're looking at 31% on top of the one. It's 181%. It's pretty decent. Excuse me. Other than that, that's basically it as far as the talents go. Talents can't do anything with those until 110, obviously. So, as you can see, you get, your freezing arrow. You get a lot of nice stuff. Scatter shot, different abilities here. You can mull those over, at your leisure. But that's basically that. Now, as far as rotation, you want to make sure that you've always got enough focus to keep that mark or your aim shot out, but you don't want to neglect your marked shot procs, and vice versa. You want to have enough to toss out a marked shot, but you don't want to neglect aim shot. As aim shot is your bread and butter. So essentially, what I typically do is I'll open up with an aim shot to start that buff up, and start dumping some of my focus out, and then I'll immediately follow it up with three arcane shots, just to get that focus regen going. Then basically what I'm going to do from there is you pop whatever macros or trinket cooldowns if you want, depending on when you want to do that. And other than that, the rotation's pretty simple. Just make sure that you keep your you keep an eye on the cooldown for for steady focus. You know, you want to make sure that, you know, when you got about, you know, 3 or 4 seconds left of that, you want to get prepped to start casting an aim shot, and then you know, just to keep that that true aim debuff applied, and then you're going to fire off, and you know, your arcane shots to reapply the steady focus buff for yourself. So I mean, you know, it's pretty good. You know, just you know, make sure you let your marked shots off whenever they proc. But you know, if it does proc in the middle of like an aim shot cast, for example, you don't want to sacrifice an aim shot. So don't start moving just to get that marked shot off. You know, finish your aim shot. But then, you know, just have your finger on the trigger for the marked shot once you're done casting it, and just let it rip. You know, and then just continue your rotation as usual. That's basically all you got to do. But it's, you know, pretty you know, pretty simple. You know, they definitely dumbed down you know, the play style. It made it a lot easier. You know, a lot more player friendly, so you get a lot more people that, you know, can have fun with a hunter that just, you know, didn't like him before. They're a lot more fluid now. Let's see, the you know, as far as the let's see if there was anything else. I don't think there's anything else that I missed, other than you know, just a couple of the, you know, the changes to the abilities. You know, they made you know, exhilaration, that's, you automatically get that. They got rid of spirit bond. We don't get that anymore. So, you know, there's no passive heal, no kite healing for hunters anymore. So, you know, they hit us with that. But they did give us a nice little, you know, 180, 200k heal, you know, that we get, you know, but it's percentage based. You're going to get a chunk of your health back, and, you know, so is your pet's going to get healed to full. So you got that in dire circumstances. But like I said, if you spec in a camo, you can get that little 2% in, you know, no harm, no foul there. But, you know, again, situational. But I think the biggest change to the actual abilities is the way they replaced deterrence with aspect of the turtle. Basically, it's just a, you know, big translucent turtle shell. Looks kind of stupid. I don't know. I don't know if I really like it. It hasn't grown on me yet. I'll put it like that. You know, but it you know, it works the same way, deflects all damage, and, you know, reduces the damage you take while it's up. So, you know, not terrible. But overall, that's basically it. So, yeah, that does it for my my Marksman Hunter PvP guide for patch 7.0. I want to thank all you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And you know, if you like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, toss a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And like I said, if you want to leave your comments, negative or positive, to me it's both positive. I'm just really starting this out, so feel free. And you know, hopefully I'll see you guys in Legion. So be easy, everybody, and I'll see you in game.